Hello, you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. I am joining you from the yard. You might hear some frogs super loud in a little bit. I hope they don't get too loud. But yeah, I'm going to hang out with you guys for a little bit, go through some things I thought were interesting. There's a lot of things I want to talk about. And so, yeah, and look, the moon is right behind me because when you go into StreamYard, I could see the camera on at first. And like, oh, if I wasn't reading and stuff, I would leave it on. But yeah, good to see you guys. And here, let me turn this off. I know I've already seen there's some controversial stuff we're going to talk about. And I want us to talk about it with level heads, with kindness to each other, and also kindness towards the people involved. I just think that's important. So, how are you guys tonight? And yeah, is it hot where you are? Have you been experiencing this heat wave? Oh my gosh. It's a lot. Hey Teacup, hey Coffee and Skeletons, hit me with the controversy. Hey Crystal, hey Angie, hey Michelle, yay, good. Hey Brandy, hey Emily, neat, Harley Quinn. We're just gonna hang out, kick back, relax, chat like some friends on the front porch, just going through, except for looking at stuff as we talk about it, because I have several, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12 tabs open, and there's still one other story I haven't pulled that I want to talk about. But I might wait. And that's the one you sent me, Neat, of the child who passed away in state's custody. I want to talk about that. That's important. But first, I want to start with some Brian Kohberger stuff. There is all kinds of stuff I want to talk about there. Not as much from the documents. I do have a little video I want to play, but I just want to say there's a lot of information being released. There are tons of documents out there, and Melissa Jade and Shay have been going through them all. So if you're interested in listening to every detail, please go check out their channel. Oh, Roxanne, I bet. And hey, good to see you. No heat here. Wow, Callie. That's awesome. Okay. Hey, Bogart. Hey, you guys coming in. Hey, Angie. All right. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to start. Of course, you would think that after someone pleads guilty and they start releasing evidence, and it's, there's a lot of different stuff, that people would stop with the conspiracies, but, it's not happening. People are still going, I can't believe it. I can understand having questions. I just don't understand like this. And this is another person's video, not this Twitter person. But is Brian Kohberger plea deal a confession or a defense strategy? Strategy? Like, you can't be serious. What? No. No. He pled guilty because the writing was on the wall, dude. They had discovery. They knew what the state had against them. Like, I'm sorry. And look, I'm open to a conspiracy. Show me facts and evidence that lead you in that direction, though, first. Yeah, what strategy? I know. So let's see where we're going to start. We're going to start and talk about Dylan Mortensen, okay? So all opinions are welcome. However, and this is just hate me for it or not, there's plenty of channels that you can just say whatever you want. I do want to keep it respectful towards Dylan and Bethany. Dylan and Bethany. Oh my gosh, I'm getting tongue-tied. Towards Dylan and Bethany. They're victims. And they've been through a lot. And I can understand being like having questions. That's a lot of money, this, that, whatever. But I don't want to bash them, accuse them of stuff. It's going to be removed. Mods, please remove that if it happens. Just because I don't think it's fair. And that's just not the example I want to set. I am all about free speech, different opinions, stuff like that. Debate me on it in a way that's respectful. You know what I mean? So please, you guys, I would appreciate that so much. All right. I'm early this time. We're just getting started. He knew he'd get the death penalty if he went to trial. I think that he figured he might. She had some things that would get him out of that, but I think that he knew he was going to be found guilty, and the chance of getting the death penalty was there, so why take the chance? It's like they are for taking lives. Brandy, yeah, I know there's some trauma. She was on social media for hours after hearing her roommates get slaughtered. Okay, have a good night. But I wouldn't even remove that. I do think she's been through a lot of trauma. I think if she was involved, there would be evidence of it. I think she probably didn't realize what was going on, and people react to trauma differently. That's just something, if you were truly educated about trauma, you would know that some people freeze for hours. Some people, there's just all sorts of different ways to reacting to it. And unless you've been through it, you just truly don't know. But the social media stuff, in my opinion, I just don't think they knew exactly what was going on. I mean, look at their messages back and forth. And if she was involved, there would be evidence, electronic evidence, physical evidence. There would be, in my opinion, there would be evidence. So, but yeah, I wouldn't have removed that one. I just, but you're free to stay or go. Just like I said, let's just debate it in a way that's respectful to each other. But okay. Hey, Tess. He was nowhere near. Oh, and there's a body cam that's been released. And at first I thought, I don't want to watch that. Like, I watched through and I kind of skipped through, and they were saying Ann Taylor wanted this kept out and this and that. And then you have people saying this means nothing. I didn't see anything there, but I think we might watch it for a minute just to watch his body language and stuff, because he's so scary. And I don't know. Yeah, I think he pled because he doesn't want his parents to see all the evidence and cut him off. Kind of reminds you of like Stephen Stearns. Yeah, they are kids. How else would kids who have been drinking and not understanding what was happening in the house? And now we know that they did at least dabble, some of them, like Xana and the Adderall. If you've been listening to Melissa, I just think, yeah. Okay, so let's look. Let's go here first. So Dylan has a GoFundMe. Her aunt started it for her. Let's look at this article, and then we're going to go check it out. Survivor of Kohberger's Idaho massacre raises $50,000 for her healing journey after roommates were slaughtered in their sleep. One of the surviving roommates of the University of Idaho murders has raised $50,000 in just 2 days. The GoFundMe for Dylan, one of two people who was not killed by Cobberger in the house in November of 2022, was started by her aunts to help her rebuild her life following the traumatic experience. This is what the aunt said on the GoFundMe. Actually, let's go look at it. But first, let me just say, I'm fine. I don't have a problem with this. For one, it would be incredibly hard to go out there in the world and work without your trauma in your face daily, because everybody knows her, right? And especially in the area. I do believe that she needs therapy, and it is a lot of money, but I think that it costs a lot to live. And if you're not going to work and you're taking a break from all of that, I don't know. I'm totally for it. I think she's been through enough. I think if you don't want to donate, or you think it's too much, or you have questions, you honestly don't have to, At the end of the day, she is a victim, and it's been 2.5 years, and this is just now happening. So we're going to look at it, but hold on a second. I have some bug spray wipe, and I'm already getting bug bit, so I want to get one out. Repel mosquito and tick wipe. They didn't have any bug spray at the store the other day. They only had these, so that's what we settled with. Or what I settled with, rather. Hey, Bushy. It is a lot, Emily. It totally is. I don't know why people are so upset about that. If a person doesn't like it, they don't have to donate. Yeah, I agree. And that's what, like I said, it's some controversial stuff we're going to talk about. But I think we should talk about it. Just like, let's take a pause and talk about just something really quickly that Melissa read through tonight. If you missed it, you got to go back and listen. I was like in the bushes, but I was listening, and she was reading about all of the blood that was said to be in Hoodie Guy Jack S's house, in his bathroom, and all kinds of stuff. And, it was a lot. For me, I know that people are tearing that apart. Oh, making conspiracies out of it. He was already blamed a lot back in the day. Even I was suspicious of him. Even Steve on an interview said, and somebody's leaving the country, and he was said to have went to Africa, if you guys remember. But I do remember from all of that, he was a hunter. He was really big into deer hunting and other stuff like that. And he had a bunch of gory hunting photos online, or some, maybe not a bunch. So I think that, I'm sure they did the proper testing on all of that. You guys, it's not just Moscow that was involved in the investigation. It was the FBI as well. So I kind of think I don't want him to be blamed either. I mean, we have the person in prison or, in custody who claims they did this. And there is plenty of evidence that points to them, including their DNA on a knife sheath and many other sketchy things, right? So the video of his car. So, hey, Amber. Well, she's not scamming. People know what and why they are donating. Definitely. Hey, Homer. He's a hunter and an outdoor. Yes, Tess, that is so common. Coming from West Virginia, where all the men hunt, most of them, 90%. You'll go to somebody's house and there'll be 3 deer hanging upside down in the garage. And it's just a way of life for some people. And I think that probably explains some of that. Okay, so let's go to here's her GoFundMe. It's actually at $58,000, 90% full. They were asking for $65,000. It says Kate Heath and Cindy Montoto are organizing this fundraiser on behalf of Dylan Mortensen. Our sweet niece, Dylan Mortensen, the eyewitness and surviving roommate from the University of Idaho murders case. It's been 2.5 years of Dylan silently and bravely putting one foot in front of the other, cooperating with law enforcement, processing, and healing from the unimaginable. Dylan has had to learn how to live in her new reality, forever lacking peace, security, safety, and her closest friends. We know a lot of people have asked how they can help, so we created this to support Dylan in building back her life and her future. A life that will require relocation. See, there's another expense, intensive long-term trauma therapy, and extra security and privacy measures. That makes sense too. Imagine if you had survived this, you would want extra security. I can totally understand this, and I want to appeal to the person who might not and try to get you to see like the point of view. Also, just to tell you guys what's going on and not to convince you, but just to have the conversation with someone who might disagree, because that's going to cost a lot of money. And I just think it's unfair the way they've been treated, So it says, and I guarantee you a lot of people have asked, how can we help? Think about it. So they say, if you aren't able to support her financially, but still want to help, we would sincerely appreciate sharing this to spread the word. Social media has been unsupportive, and very negative towards Dylan. But we are hoping social media can also show her the positive and loving side of people in the world that care about this brave girl. Thank you for helping us to fill her world with support, love, and light after such a dark time. We deeply appreciate it. They did also do an update that said she's overwhelmed with the gratitude for all of the messages, donations, and support. She reads every message and is so grateful for your kindness. Thank you for making a difference in her life. Damn, man. Hey, Bendy, I can imagine how this could change her life, Yeah, Callie, they say relocation, extra security and privacy, and intensive trauma therapy. I would say, it'd be hard to work while you're trying to relocate. And I don't know. I'm just for it. I want to share the link with you guys. Don't have to donate, but if you want to, here's the link. I think they definitely could use all the words of encouragement and love and support. The money is another thing. But, hey, Patricia. Hello, Red. I hope she gets to do what she needs to get some peace. Me too. I just cannot imagine, because I'm paranoid anyways. I feel like I would want like security, like actual like people. Cue the people saying she is benefiting. I know she did not initiate it, and this has been a long time. If she was going to grift off of this or try to beg from it, which I don't even know that that's even possible in her situation. She is a victim, but let's say she was. She would have done it a long time ago. And the reason I say I don't think it's possible is because any support for her, like, I think that's a good thing, and I think she deserves it, whether it's love, just whatever. So Dylan was one of the roommates, Lil Red. You should look at the case, especially now that so much is coming out. There's a lot of documentaries. We're going to actually talk about some stuff that came out in one tonight in one of these articles we're going to get to. But she was a surviving roommate who was there when the crime occurred. So, ooh, here's Bindi. I had sent Bindi the link. I didn't know if she would be able to come. Hold on, let me get this off the screen. Okay. Hello.
Hello. What you doing?
Nothing. Just talking about this GoFundMe and just what's I'm about to get into some other updates with Kohberger.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel so badly for Dylan. Bless her little heart.
Me too.
I just feel awful for her. Just awful.
Me too. I'm happy for people to support her. I
Me
swear.
too. Me too. I know that there are going to be people out there that are naysayers, right? Fine, whatever. But I've watched many, many true crime victim impact statements in my day. I'm old and I've seen a lot. And you can, when somebody is trying to have emotions that are not genuine, you can see it. It's it was clear to me, that unequivocally that Dylan was struggling. I mean, the kid had to sit at the table rather than stand at the podium because she did not want to see him. That's trauma. That's trauma. It just breaks my heart. It just breaks my heart that even after all of this, Cobberger has pled guilty. It's not a trick. It's, if it is a trick, if he's trying to plead guilty in hopes that he's going to appeal his case on some, it won't work. This would be the dumbest plan ever.
That's what I talked about at the beginning. Somebody I opened Twitter to show a post that was like, is this strategy or a real guilty plea? And it's like,
okay, there would be no purpose to a strategy that ever included pleading guilt. That's it. The closest thing to a quote unquote strategy would be to take the Alford plea. Because then you can you're maintaining your innocence, but agreeing that the state, if they took you to trial, has enough to prosecute you. And the fact of the matter is, that's not what happened here. They're very rare, and they're usually a compromise to avoid a retrial. It's something that happens post conviction, right? Usually. I mean, it's not always, but the majority of the time.
Amanda, no, nothing happened to her. Her aunts, though, did start a GoFundMe for her to get relocated, intense trauma therapy, and security and privacy. I'm going to drop that link one more time before we move on, just in case anybody wants to help out. But yeah, sorry, Penny.
It's just, no, I mean, I didn't, there's really nothing I had to add to other than what I said. Like, I just feel bad for her.
Yeah.
I feel bad for her.
So were you able to catch, I don't think you saw Melissa today because you were swimming, right?
I didn't. No, I was swimming. But I will say this to all the naysayers out there who think that Dylan is some kind of whatever. Go and watch the interviews with the surviving roommates from the Chi Omega murder that Bundy committed, from those murders. Listen to those girls. In fact, don't listen to them as adults, like older adults, like now. or even 20 years ago. Go and watch their testimony. It's on YouTube. They testified in his trials. Go listen to it. Go listen to it.
Oh,
And
I
you'll
don't
see the
think I've
same
ever
thing.
listened.
Yeah, you'll see the same thing. And in that situation, Bundy represented himself. So he got to cross-examine these girls, these
Oh,
survivors.
God.
Yeah.
You're right, Kimberly. The victims and family members are being threatened. Oh, I'm going to watch that, Jen. I'm very interested to see that. But so in Melissa's today, they read a document and I was behind, so I couldn't even ask questions. And I was like not watching a lot. I was just listening. But
Okay.
do you remember Hoodie Guy and how so many people like blamed him at first because he was in
Yes.
the back of that video?
Yes. Yes.
Well, apparently when they searched his apartment, police did search his apartment and they found like a lot of different stains and stuff that look like blood. And they're just going through the reports. So they don't get to see the results or whatever. They're just documenting like an
Right.
interview, I think, from someone else talking about it. And there was a block because they talked about it on the shower. Like I said, I'm missing some parts. So you guys need to go watch it, Melissa's, to get the full thing. But apparently, according to Shay, this has sparked a lot of controversy and blame again. And I was saying, like, he's a hunter. I remember photos all over like his mom's Facebook or like photos that were put out of him hunting. And I would expect they tested that, have the
Of course they
results.
did.
Right.
Of course they did. If that was human blood, even if it wasn't anything related to the Idaho 4 case, okay, and it was somebody else, another human other than his, there would be a problem there. Okay, there would be an investigation there. And
right.
ATS News said we should watch that together. You know what? Maybe me and Allie and I've talked about like just having a night where we just talk. Maybe we will do that. Maybe that'll be one of the things we talk about.
I've been wanting to do Bundy too with you. Like, and I'm so interested in it. You have went so deep in it. I've watched stuff about it since. You remember that video? There was two. There was the movie with Zac Efron, and then his
Yes.
girlfriend did the documentary.
Yes.
Like, I was knee deep in all of that. I loved it. So I would love to talk him too. Like, I'm here for it.
Yes,
Kelly.
and all of that stuff. Thank you. Thanks to YouTube. Seriously, this is something that when you get frustrated with YouTube, you have to remember this. This is why YouTube exists and why YouTube is such a good thing, because there's so much footage that would have been lost to time and would not be accessible to us like it is now. You know what I mean? Like, if you watch my intro video, that is actual footage from like Spawn Ranch and Spa Ranch, Spa Ranch, from when Tex Watson was arrested and being brought to the trial with the Manson girls, all of that. It's all real footage of that stuff.
That's so cool.
There's only one clip that's not authentic. It's from Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and it's when they're walking up to the house. That part obviously isn't authentic, but everything else with respect to that older footage, that is authentic footage, and it's all on YouTube. So
yeah, that's so cool. Even that video you're working on, like hearing the trial and stuff, like I can't believe they have that. That's really awesome.
You have to know where to go to find that. That stuff is you have to know where to go and you have to know how to work it. But yeah, I mean, it's out there. It's not a big secret. I've talked about it a million times, but yeah. But it says you have to understand the case in order to like be able to put it together.
Right.
Hopefully it makes sense. It made sense in my brain, but that ain't saying too much.
No, I love your videos. I can't wait for everybody to see what you've done. Yeah, and I can't wait for more. I think you're gonna do like really, really well on that little journey, and I can't wait to watch it, man.
You.
Okay,
soon.
Also, a body cam was released. Now, this is a shortened version. This body cam actually takes place. Newly released video shows convicted killer Brian Kohberger pulled over. This was in like August, I believe, before the murders. He was stopped for speeding, but at the end, he does ask some questions and stuff. And I don't think this means really anything, but I thought we could just watch a minute or two of it to see his body language. Now, people are causing conspiracy with this too, Bendy. It's,
What are they saying?
Oh, Ann Taylor, this is what she wanted out. What was it like? Then other people, this has nothing to do with any, just the
Okay.
extremes of everything.
Okay. There's no conspiracy. It's normal for Ann Taylor to want this out. This could, and I'm sure what she argued was 504, which is propensity evidence. And the judge will weigh whether it's, we don't want to convict somebody in court of being the type of person that's done this. So when they talk about 404, 504, is it 504 or 404? 404. When they talk about this type of evidence, that's what they're talking about. This is the type of person. He's already done A, B, and C, or as Letitia says, A, B, and 3. And so he's the type of person that would commit this crime. And that's why they try to keep it out.
Okay. Yeah. And I wonder, will they release like the footage of him being arrested?
Eventually.
Oh my God. I cannot wait to see that, Jen.
Eventually they will release it. Yeah.
Now, is that up to Pennsylvania or?
Yes. See, that's the thing about it. Pennsylvania is who initially took him into custody. It was their arrest. Now, granted, they arrested him on an Idaho warrant, but because the initial arrest took place in Pennsylvania, they are the ones that hang on, that have that footage. Now, do they share it? Sure. Kind of like with Gannon, his autopsy, because his little body was found in Florida, his autopsy was performed in Florida. And but they handed all of that stuff over to Colorado so that he could so that she could be prosecuted. But Florida does retain those records. Florida still has a copy of all that stuff. That's, I think, where the confusion came in.
And the only reason it was ever, like in Colorado, people could get it after the trial from the court because it was put on it. You know what I mean?
Yes, it was used as evidence. And I think that what happened there was an accident. I think that when it was used as evidence, I think it was put in one big, huge file, and the file was sent. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it hadn't been gone through, because I don't think that El Paso County realized it was part of the file, because technically that evidence belongs to Florida, because that's where the autopsy was performed.
Right. Chief, happy birthday to your
son, Chief. Happy birthday.
Oh, and then look, Patricia said, "Hey, Alex, my daughter has just bought her first house. She gets the keys on Friday, so a party will obviously ensue. I'm super proud of her." Oh my God.
Congratulations. Awesome. Amazing.
Dude, I haven't done that. And that's so cool. I don't know. That would be such an awesome accomplishment.
Kelly wants to know what's taking so long to release the body cam. Okay, so here's the deal. The way that a lot of this evidence has been under seal. So no, she's in a completely different county, Kelly, than where Gannon was found. So the judge is unsealing things backwards. And I feel like the body cam stuff was something that was sealed kind of early on. So we will, we'll get it unless it's, either way, whether it was sealed later or sealed early on, we're going to get it in order of that it was sealed. So
let me ask you, since it was sent over to Moscow as evidence, would it be in their file too, or?
They will have a copy of it, certainly, but the right protocol to go through if you wanted to request it would be to request it from Pennsylvania, because it is their evidence. Kind of like, okay, so if you wanted Gypsy Rose interrogation, okay, even though her crime was committed in Missouri and they used that evidence in Nicholas's trial, they used his interrogation. If you wanted to request a copy of the interrogation video, you had to request it from Wisconsin, because that's where it took place. But they're the ones that retain that's where you request it from.
Okay. All right. So let's watch this for a minute. And then I want to show you an article. There's two more things, Kohberger. Okay. One, there's some like, I know that some of his classmates and people had spoken out before, but there's a lot of people speaking out now. And remember, we talked about like the Elliot Rodgers stuff. It's going to kind of tie into that, and it's super, super freaking interesting. So I can't wait to show you. So you want to watch this just for a minute?
Absolutely, yes. We can watch it for however long you want, babe. I'm here for you.
There's not too much there, but like at the end, he kind of like is questioning some stuff. So maybe I'll fast forward it to here, like just asking questions.
How fast was he going?
I can't remember, but I know he didn't have a seatbelt on.
Oh,
and that was one of them. Yeah.
Oh dear, reckless as hell.
Yeah, living on the edge.
Yeah, living like Larry out here. My goodness.
Okay, I'm thinking 40 something and a 30 something, but somebody correct me.
Sweet Jesus.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Okay, yes.
Answer 292 Pennsylvania, valid 2024.
Okay, I'll be busy site. All right, sir, here's your license back. It's here, just infraction citation. The only thing alleging failure to wear your seatbelt on the traffic stop. They said the fine at that's $10. You do have the right to a hearing on this if you'd like one. If you'd like hearing, you need to request it before September 8th.
Yeah, that ain't
at
shit.
8:30. Otherwise, they'll automatically be entered against you. You'll lose the right to the hearing. You just wanted to pay it. The mailing address there, website right there.
Yeah, I just have a question about that. So in terms of like, when you get a speeding ticket that's obviously reported to your insurance, is that the same thing for the seatbelt?
I don't think so. I think it's only moving violations that go to insurance, or things that might put points on your license. Yeah, I'm not 100%
seatbelt
sure.
Then, dummy. How about you? I mean, that's like basic driver's ed shit.
Can I get a phone number from you?
For real?
Yeah, why?
We need to put it on the citation as it goes to the.
Can I get a phone number for him? Yeah, why?
Well, which is it? Yeah or why, Brian?
Yeah. He looks so creepy all the time, though. Like when he's looking up right here, let me.
He's so intense.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Even in situations that don't require the level of intensity, he's very intense.
Yes.
With a seatbelt like this, I didn't check as I was coming up, so that's why I asked you. I should. I noticed you weren't wearing it, and I'm on this emphasis. And like I said, I'm getting paid by ITD, and they want us to enforce the seatbelt law. So I was being more aware of that. That's where I'm coming from.
He's totally studying the police, in my opinion.
He is. He's absolutely trying to gauge what do they look for, what will get you caught. And I would suspect this is intentional. I'm just going to say it. I think he did this on purpose.
He probably did. I didn't even freaking think about that.
The only way to gauge an officer, the only way to gauge law enforcement response is to interact with law enforcement. It's not like, so what did he do? He didn't wear a seatbelt, which would get noticed, and he was speeding, and he wanted to see he wants to see how observant these cops are. He's testing. That's just me.
I think you're onto something because for one, in some of his questions, I believe there was talk about how law enforcement response, and I've heard other people kind of theorizing that he was checking their response for other things too. So I bet you're right. I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. Look at him though. He looks very intense all the time. Okay. So here is the Cobberger seemingly inspired by Elliot Rodger. So let's see. Months before the murders, he received his master's at the sales in Pennsylvania. Now, a former classmate spoke with E! News on the Prime Video documentary, and he said, and I didn't even know, I haven't watched that yet. You've watched it though, right?
I haven't watched all of it though. I've had to do it in parts because it's very intense.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. I've been meaning to watch it, so I need to do that. But I never have time, man. But okay. So they say at the sales, some of the people that Brian and I studied were serial killers were Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Ed Kemper, and Elliot Rodger. He said Elliot Rodger was a young man in college that was basically jaded and hated his life because he lacked the attention from friends, family, and most of all, women. Now, they talk about how in 2014, Rodger stabbed his roommates. Then he went to a sorority house and shot several people, driving around in public shooting people. And then he had that manifesto and stuff. So, as he put in the document, quote, all those beautiful girls I've desired so much in my life can never have because they despise and loathe me, I will destroy. So, according to another DeSales classmate, Brittany Slavin, Brian was interested in a lot of the things that we learned, but he did have more of an interest in Elliot Rodger. In fact, Slavin said Kohberger did not act fazed by Rodger's crimes. I talked to other girls in the class where we were all bothered by what Rodger did, she said, but Brian did not seem bothered, which is interesting. He seemed to be more interested in that than some of the other cases. But then they go on. Hold on. This was interesting too. Okay, so Cobberger allegedly had a history of similar problems with college women. Gary Jenkins, the chief of police at WSU, told Amazon, I did hear about a situation where Cobberger had followed a student out to her car, trying to flirt with her, and she reported it to someone in the criminal justice department. Yeah. And then investigators also uncovered texts between professors who said that they needed to do an intervention with Kohberger, with one teacher texting another. Apparently, he's offended several of our female students, according to documents publicly released on July 23rd. So, and I have a video, a little TikTok that we can watch that'll talk about these documents a little more. And you guys, Melissa, like I said, Melissa and Shay have went deep into these documents, so you can also go there. But let's go over to this TikTok and we'll watch it together. And then I wanted to tell you about like a couple other cases and see if you had heard of them, Jen.
Okay, because I'm curious about this situation with Elliot Rodger. I think it's different than, I don't think that that Kohberger was I think there's a difference in Kohberger and Elliot Rodger. See, the thing about Elliot Rodger is he was like rich, and I cannot remember what it was that Elliot Rodger, his dad did. Okay. But this kid, could see, could get into concerts, all kinds of, just stuff. All right. But the thing that's different to me, Brian is awkward around girls. All the women that he offended in that way, trying to flirt with, would he was awkward around them. He made them uncomfortable because he was awkward. Elliot Rodger felt entitled to be with these girls, as if, what is their problem? It cannot be me. It is absolutely them. I deserve and I am entitled to have these girls fall all over me. I just look at me. I'm an instant panty dropper. That is different than, to me, Elliot Rodger comes across much different than Kohberger. Kohberger comes across as introverted and awkward around women. But that's not the same thing that was going. I mean, Elliot had that too. He was not introverted, though. He was awkward around women because he felt he was owed. If he took a girl, if he took a girl out to dinner, she owed him her life. Is the way he acted about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's different.
Well, see, for me, I agree they're different, but I don't think that means he wasn't inspired. I personally am kind of going with the theory like he was inspired by multiple things. And
same.
Yeah, so isn't it possible that he saw his some things with Elliot Rodger and took an interest? Oh, wow. He wanted to get back at the girls who had turned him down, kind of thing. Do you remember that girl who came out and said that young girl in middle school was really mean to Brian too, like a cheerleader or something? Yeah. So what if he's just taking little pieces?
I think Brian intended to, if you look at who he studied, especially who his classmate named. First, he named Bundy, then Kemper, Dahmer, and actually didn't talk a lot about BTK, or didn't mention BTK, but did talk about Elliot Rogers. And here's the thing. If you really, if we were really to be able to study like Brian's, I think what he intended to do was more of an homage. Shay and I were talking about this on Melissa's. That's right, Kimberly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have, yeah. I'm going to leave it there because I just had a thought, a memory. I'm going to just, anyway.
Took me a second.
I think that what Brian Kohberger was going to do was going to do stuff like similar to Rogers, to Kemper, and to Bundy, because all three of them, the majority of women that they attacked were college co-eds. Kemper did stray a little bit because his mode of getting these girls was they were hitchhikers, except for one that I can think of right off the top of my head, who was far younger, that she was only like 13 or 14 years old. And she had missed her bus, like a public bus. And he offered her a ride. She wasn't actually, I don't think, if I remember correctly, hitchhiking. But bottom line is that was his deal. But those three centered around college co-eds. And I think that he intended to do a little homage to each one of them. And when I heard about the brutality with Kaylee, it did make me think of Bundy. Bundy was at the Chi Omega house. He was incredibly brutal, more brutal than he'd been in the past. And it's one of the things that got him caught because he bit the victim.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. I didn't realize that he was more brutal with that one.
Yes.
I can't wait for us to get into it because I'm very interested. I want to refresh on what exactly happened and,
yes,
at every crime scene, even with wasn't his last victim like a young girl?
Yes.
Kimberly or something?
Kimberly Leach.
Okay.
She was 12.
Yeah, we got to go through it, right?
Yes, let's do it. The three of us.
Yes.
What do you think? Down. We haven't included Amber in a long time.
I know. I think that would be fun. And we could go around you, Amber, whenever you can.
Yes.
Rachel, so I want to say before we get into this video, this girl describes it perfectly. So here's the link. They have cases of interest on this page. I'm going to drop this in here, but I thought it was interesting because look what cases it is. Cobberger, Lori Vallow, and Tucker versus Idaho, which I don't think I know that one.
I don't think I know that one either, but of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you, Guilty of Crime. I came onto YouTube to cover serial killers, but YouTube isn't a fan of that content. I love to talk about Bundy with you ladies. Oh, and I have Bundy court docs. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'm down.
Yes. Listen, I love to talk about Bundy. I think he was an incredible coward, really, when it came down to it. Well, Patricia's right. Some of Bundy's victims were not found as quickly as they were at Chi Omega. He might have been more brutal to them. We can't know for sure. Although some of the ones that were found, you can tell from their skeletal remains, but but yeah, I mean, that's, we don't know, but he was very brutal with Chi Omega, and think about it. If you're studying serial killers in an effort to learn how to catch them, not like we look at them, but in a classroom setting, they're going to talk about what the evidence that they have. And Chi Omega is one of those ones that, I didn't mean to hit my mic. Sorry, you guys that are wearing earbuds, but they're going to talk about the ones with the majority of evidence. And, he was very, very brutal, which is what made me think of him in reference to what happened at, 112 King Road, 1122 King Road. Sorry.
I I have a question to you,
Yes.
guilty of crime, because
Oh,
if she
okay.
said that she had studied like serial killers and that's what she came to YouTube for, are there anything that we're missing or that you haven't seen yet, or even if that you have, that kind of remind you of Kohberger, things that you're seeing that line up, since we're kind of theorizing that he could take bits and pieces from different ones. And you know what? You could always do like a second channel that was just on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I
instead
mean,
of
the
the
worst thing that YouTube will do would be to age restrict your content. But if you, when you're uploading a video, it's not so much, it's harder to do with a live, but you can do it. Just make sure that you just check this content is not for kids. YouTube really actually does appreciate creators who do that. And there's, you can talk about it. You just have to be careful in the way that you talk about it, and make sure that if you do a video or you do a live, that when you after you do it through like your whatever streaming service you use, if you go back to your YouTube channel through the studio and you make sure to check this content is not for children, YouTube appreciates that.
Yeah, I found that too. And my videos, I never censor myself. You know that we say all the words, both of us do, really. And I never get demonetized. But I will say I am not in the algorithm like I could be. And maybe that's why, I don't know. But also, I don't want to censor it. I think it's too important. Like, so I just don't. But
I feel like they lived it. We should be able to say what happened to them because they experienced it. We should be able to talk about it.
That's absolutely true.
And if you're going to be, you know, this is just a little suggestion, YouTube, but if you're going to be paying high attention to content and you're going to be, you know, worried about that type of content, perhaps you should be keeping more of a watchful eye on content that is exploitative of crimes like this. That's all.
Right. Absolutely, man. Because there's a lot and they just keep on going. Like I seen this one creator that makes at least 2-3 videos on Idaho a day, really fanning the flames of the conspiracies. And it's just gross. And have done that since it's happened every day for 2 years. Like that.
I can't do it. I got limited ads on our live that we just did together, but I appealed it and they let it go through. I'm sure it's because I think I said the F word in the like right after the 8-minute mark. I want to say like you know 8:10 or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, Harley Quinn. Well, I'm glad you're here. She said that's a good question about Kohberger, but he did kill 4 college students in the same way that Bundy tried and failed. Bundy was convicted for the 12-year-old he killed. Kimberly, which we were just talking about that. Okay, that sucks, Jen. I'm sorry.
No, it's not a big deal, babe. I appealed it. And it went through really quickly. So, you know, I just think that sometimes, you know, YouTube has algorithm. YouTube has bots, and I think that when the transcript gets uploaded, and they're like, you know, even if you don't actually say the full out F word, and you just start, you know, like that, or you just, you know, they you know, it picks it up.
Right. Okay. Well, at least it got appealed and worked. But okay, so let's listen to her, and then I want to tell you about some other cases. Which one did you hear about? What happened at the Devil's Den? Yeah,
I did hear a little bit about that. Yes, I was quite interested in that, given its name and location.
I know, but you know, they just released a new picture, like of the person of interest, and they're on the run. So I thought after we listened to this, we could look at that for a second, and then I have a couple.
Absolutely.
If I can actually, I want to talk about, there's a child who died in state's custody that Neat sent me.
No.
It's awful. They were literally going to a visit and the worker just leaves them in the car, does errands, goes home. And it's just a terrible story. And I
know that story.
Too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard about that too. Yes.
So maybe I'll do another live with more of the unknown things, because I have like 6 or 7 cases pulled up here, and I definitely want to talk about Devil's Den tonight.
Oh, okay, we will do that. Absolutely. I'll stop going off into the weeds.
No, don't we go into the weeds, and I'll bring you back. I go.
Okay.
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 All right, here we go.
All
I'm
right.
gonna drop Bendy's link, you guys, now from the Nightbot, and then it'll be the first one. Please go check out her channel. I need to get your second channel in here for those videos.
Oh,
But then,
okay.
but I also want to drop Melissa's because she's going through these documents, and this is just like a quick TikTok of it. So sometimes it's easy, like during a live, to just play this, right? If you want to talk
Yes.
about something, but for people that want to read through it all.
Yes. And Melissa and Shay are doing a fantastic job, you guys. I would highly, highly recommend watching that over there. For real,
Yes,
for the full
absolutely.
details.
We love the ward weeds, dang it. The ward weeds. I know, Robin, that was funny. Okay, and then Melissa. All right, here we go. So this is about Kohberger and the staff and all that, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to mute so the frogs don't distract. Okay, here we go.
Some of these documents on Brian Kohberger, it is clear that the people he was working with at Washington State University did not like him, and they didn't trust him either. Now, this first document 189, has to do with the WSU professors. There's one particular text exchange that's listed here that one professor writes to another and says, "Do you want to take Kohberger?" He listed you and another professor as people he was interested in working with. The other person writes back and says, "If I must, ... Another screenshot at the bottom of the page here depicts a message from about 2 months before the murders, where one person says that another professor tells them that they need to do an intervention with Kohberger. She's going to try to gather more information, but apparently he's offended several of our female students. Assuming we get some details, how do you want to handle this? This person asks another professor. They're saying, let's see when we have more information. But there are more screenshots that they're talking about saying that Kohberger was using his status to try to interact with female students. Now, this is document 246. This is an interview that was done with Kohberger's other teacher's assistant from one of the classes that he was the TA for. Now, this person said that he shared an office with Kohberger in the fall semester, that he considered him a friend, but that Kohberger was also selfish. He said he was also intelligent, but that he would mislead him to thinking that he had more work to do, when in fact he was basically asking this other teacher's assistant to do his work for him. This person also said that Kohberger spoke a lot more after the homicides and that he would characterize it as a person who just wanted to vent. Now, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but that Kohberger used his TA status to interact with female students.
Okay, now, before we get more into the students, we know that he was making them uncomfortable, but this is not the first time we've heard that he was different after the murders.
Yes.
And then you see that picture of him with like the thumbs up right after.
I'm
like
trying to tell you.
What did this unlock? Like the monster inside of him or something? You know, that's how it feels.
Okay. You know how when I was a kid, my mom watched 2020, Dateline, and 48 Hours. And because of that, I like to watch true crime. I'm interested in it, right? I think that it's like anything else. When he saw something, watched something, heard something, read something, something, and something in his brain clicked, and he became fascinated with it to the point where he needed to experience it for himself. This is why, people, it works the same way. You can use that power for good and for evil, right? Some people have something happen, or they see something in their lives, and they experience something, and they're like, oh my, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a nurse, or I want to be a vet, or, whatever it is, right? This is what he wanted to be. I want to be a serial killer.
Oh my God.
If you think about it, the qualities that make a good law enforcement officer and also make a good serial killer, they're like right together. You have to, as a serial killer or a murderer, period, you have to be able to compartmentalize. You have to be able to take your emotions. You can be empathetic and compassionate, but you cannot be emotional. You can't freak out. You can't, you've got to try to get the situation down. You really have to kind of be like, you can't have really emotions like that. And that's the same thing that makes a good serial killer or a murderer,
Right. That's crazy to think
If you
about.
really think about it, yeah.
Okay. Oh, 7. That's so sad. I wanted to be a heroin addict like my favorite uncle, even though I didn't know what that meant. Oh, that makes me so sad. I'm so sorry. Just having lived the life of an addict on those kind of drugs. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
think for Brian, he was never going to be, because of the process of becoming a law enforcement officer, because he could not get past that interview process because of of his personality. He couldn't, he didn't make
Yeah.
good impressions. And
Right.
so I think for him, he thought, okay, well, the next best thing is to study it. And something in the studying, in my opinion anyway, and clicked with him. And then I think it became more like where we sit around and say, God, how does somebody get like that? How does somebody get to that point?
Yeah.
Kohberger was like, how does somebody get to that point?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wild, but I agree with
Crazy.
you. Crazy to
Night,
think of somebody
MK.
like that studying this kind of stuff,
It is.
like
It is.
the freaking questions that he was asking people who had been convicted of crimes. And yeah, just very wild. Little
Oh,
Red
wow.
says we need to pray for the folks in Hawaii. Tsunami is going to happen. 30-foot wall from the earthquake of the coast of Russia, 8.7. That is scary. And yes,
That is
if
scary.
anybody's in Hawaii, I hope you can evacuate to somewhere safe or high up or something.
Yes. You got everybody there is in my thoughts and prayers. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's so sad.
Yes, James.
Higher
BK
ground.
didn't want to read it in a book. He wanted to feel it. Where
Mm.
we would read something like that and recoil at the thought. And we're just baffled. How can somebody do that to another human being? It clicked somewhere else with him. It clicked.
Scary. Very scary. Because how many other people are like that?
Makes you wonder. And you're right. BK wouldn't have been good at BTK. He wanted to be in law enforcement, couldn't do it. Kemper wanted to be in law enforcement, couldn't do it. Oh no, Tess. Oh gosh.
That's so sad and scary.
Oh,
All right, let's listen to the rest of this and then we'll get into Devil's Den real quick and I'll let you guys know. Okay, here we go.
And that he said Cobberger wanted a girlfriend, that Cobberger talked about wanting a girlfriend, that in their friendship, that's something that they discussed a lot, but that Cobberger said he might lose his TA position over an issue with another professor. Cobberger even asked this other teacher's assistant to defend him in these allegations, but this guy did not want to do it. He said he declined because he characterized him as dishonest. He even gave one example where he said that Cobberger told him that he was packing to catch a flight home to Pennsylvania when in fact he drove across the country with his father to Pennsylvania before he had even said this, and he had already been in Pennsylvania at the time. This person also said he did notice injuries to Cobberger somewhere in the time of October and November of 2022. He said one of the things was a scratch on his face that appeared to be from fingernails, and that he also had some damage to his knuckles on 2 separate occasions. Cobberger.
I have to pause there. Yeah, especially because we know Xana fought like hell. Okay, she had 50 stab wounds, most of them defensive. Kaylee was beat in the face, hit with something. Some people speculate there was a second weapon. I even heard a theory I thought was interesting, that Christina Randall said, what if he was trying to make it look like it was 2 separate people? I've also heard a theory. I know that would be crazy. But then Coffindaffer had said, and this is all over, I cannot believe the way the stuff she says, expert says, it goes viral like that. She said that she thinks he went there to S.A. Maddie, and that's why Kaylee had such vicious wounds, because he was angry that she was going to stop that, and that's why she was like, her face was, she was beat to the point where
Hold on a minute, Coffindaffer. Let's think about this realistically. How did Kaylee being there stop it? He'd all he had to do was kill Kaylee first. That's it. That's all. That's it.
Yeah. It's a great
I mean,
point,
come
Jen.
on, Coffin Daffer. Like you're with the freaking FBI, bitch. I got a GED.
It is Jennifer Coffindaffer, but that's a great freaking point.
What'd I say?
You said you were at the FBI, bitch. I got a GED.
Oh yeah.
But that's a good freaking point, though. He could have just taken her life first. What if Kaylee was the target? Like, what if the police have said they are not certain? They just aren't. I mean, I'm not saying she was. I'm just saying, what if it's a
Right,
possibility?
exactly. What if she was? We don't know. We don't, and
Right.
these are questions that are going to, maybe we'll get something close to an answer with the documents, but it depends on, there hasn't been any document that I've looked at through Melissa Jade, it's not like I don't have access to them. I have it bookmarked. I can go look anytime I want, but there hasn't been anything yet that I've heard that says that one victim, we know that he started on the third floor. That is clear from there's some blood and all that, but going down the third flight of stairs that doesn't belong to Kohberger. So I mean, I think, but there were two people in that room. Granted, Kaylee wasn't supposed to be there, but did Kohberger know that?
Right.
Did Cobberger know she wasn't supposed to be there? Maybe she was. Maybe he thought maybe he just assumed that she would be there. Who knows? We don't know yet.
Yeah. But now, okay, somebody tell me, was it Melissa and Shay that were reading off about swabs? I guess
Yes.
there were, okay, and there was a bunch of swabs, penile swabs, like everything.
Yes.
And under fingernail swabs, and I guess the refrigerator quit working or something. Were they tested before? Do we know? Like, I was kind of confused, and I have a bunch of stuff going on, so I wasn't able to listen very close. But
I'll have to go back and listen to that part, babe, because I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. So I'm curious about that. And then the fact that he had a scratch, though, and wounds on his knuckles makes me wonder. Wait, go
sorry.
ahead.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, like, was the second weapon just his fist, like we had talked about? Like
Yes. See, that's what I wondered, because a human being is capable, especially because Brian was, did know some things about boxing. Like we are capable physically of being able to inflict the type of damage that was done to Kaylee with our hands. But that type of damage that was done to Kaylee would leave marks. And I had wondered about that when I was up there with Melissa and we were talking about that. We had not gotten to the part of the documents where any injuries from Brian Cobber were discussed, because I would think that he would have bruises on his knuckles, even if he had wrapped his hands the way a boxer does to protect them. I think they would still have been bruised. Maybe not as significantly as if he didn't wrap them, but
James, no, I did not. No, Lil Red, I know you were just joking, but I know a lot of people wonder that for sure. And then Tess says, I think the lines on the handle of the K-bar are what they assume are from another weapon. Those things that are meant to make it not like it's a hunting knife and it's used for cutting animals. And that's for a reason. It's to keep it from going too deep or something. There's bars are there
for you to keep it. It's intended to not slip, so that you don't cut yourself with the hand with the knife. However, accidents still happen, and the thing is, it's very different killing an animal versus killing a human being. Human beings, as we know, fight back. There's a lot of movement, and in wrestling, trying to hold the knife and wrestling with another person, could he have cut his hand? Yeah, it's possible, but that's why that knife would be used versus a different type of knife. Yes.
Right. And yeah, so that would keep it from, that's what I meant by going too deep. And you said it so much better. So thank you.
No,
couldn't-
stop it. It's
No, my
because I
brain
give
was like,
fucking Miss America answers and I talk too damn much.
I don't think you talk too much. And I remember, like, I think I had asked Bentley's dad about this like a year or two ago, like there's bars on it, and Wolfie, who's a
Yes.
knife expert. But I like, so I had it, I could see it, but I couldn't exactly like get to the words. My brain wasn't.
I knew what you meant, because the thing is this is why I wish you would have been able to come up that night, because we did talk about this that night
Okay.
with Melissa and Shay, because all the information in that moment was brand new. I had not listened to anybody. I waited specifically for Melissa, and I was
Right.
we were talking about a lot of things. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna mute so that you can play this last little bit and get to the next part. I'm gonna have a sick. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
That should give plenty of time for you to do what you need to do without me getting us into the weeds even more.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're about over with the Kohberger. I just want to say though, before I press play, I also saw or heard somewhere in hearing these documents that police saw him on camera and stuff after the murders, like at grocery stores and stuff, with gloves on. And remember how irritated, I know we talked about this before, his hands were so red when he first got arrested, and then they looked normal after a few weeks. Like, he was wearing gloves out. He knew he was trying to protect himself, but
I
he
think
knew
he was
leaving
too.
behind. Yeah.
I think he
Would that
was too,
be-
and I think he was also a compulsive hand washer.
Yes. Oh, and the jail, one of the people in jail actually said that he's annoying because he's up all night walking around and doing stuff, and he washes his hands like over and over and over.
Yeah.
So yep.
Yeah. They looked raw, the way that they, in the wintertime, when you to, don't want to use colder water, and you accidentally get it too hot, but you wash your hands a lot, particularly because in the wintertime we're making, like, for Thanksgiving. Do you know how many times, like, I wash my hands just making Thanksgiving dinner? Like, it's a ridiculous amount of times.
Right.
And when I was moving, when I got to Texas, my daughter said to me, "Mom, what's going on with your little hands?" And I said, "Well, because you're touching stuff, and I wash my hands." So they got raw.
Yeah, I'm the same, Jen. Every winter, my hands are raw as can be. Actually, sometimes during the summer, because I have an eczema on my hand sometimes, but mine do the same thing. Because I don't know. Plus, people are sick in the wintertime, so you're washing even more.
Yep. And I got the little chickie nuggie who's got, she's sensitive to that. She's immunocompromised. And so I'm constantly, even now I wash my hands, but like all the time, but it's for whatever reason, they don't get as irritated in the summertime for me as they do in the winter, which you think they would, because I've been to the pool like 11 billion times, and it's a saltwater pool, which is easier on your skin, but it's still salt. So it's dry. It's horrible for your hair, though. So this saltwater pool, man, I'm going to have to get a mask. Yeah, they changed it. They changed it. They used to be chlorine. And then when through the like later winter, early spring, they switched them to chlorine. And anyway, that's
so cool.
They switched them to salt. Yeah. Yeah. This should be my name. Oh, look, a squirrel. Because
no, but since you're going to smoke, I rewound it like 10 seconds.
Okay, good.
And then I'll just talk to the chat for a minute before we get into Devil's Den, and then I'll.
Perfect. I'll be back. All right.
Okay. Here we go.
Of October and November of 2022, he said one of the things was a scratch on his face that appeared to be from fingernails, and that he also had some damage to his knuckles on 2 separate occasions. Cobberger said that he had been in a car accident, and when this TA was asked what they would talk about all the time, we already know that he talked about wanting to have a girlfriend. He always wanted to talk about his area of study, which was criminal decision-making and burglary-type crimes. Now, this person also said that Cobberger was frequently late, about 20 minutes late to class a lot.
I just want to see if she has any other of the documents here, but let's see. Brian Cobberger initial interview, and let's look at this one really quick. Wow.
Okay,
they
let's talk
smoking.
about the interview, that initial interview, right when Brian Kohberger was arrested in Pennsylvania. One of the people that was there was from Idaho State Police Detective Sergeant Gilbertson. One of the first things that Brian Kohberger said to him was that he looked familiar. He was primarily concerned about his parents and his dog, and they read him his Miranda rights. Now, it looks like there was a lot of small talk happening here. They talked about Washington State University. They made small talk with him about sports. He said he didn't really watch WSU football, that he was more of.
Okay, I'm going to pause and read this part. So it says, this is interesting. Detective Gilbertson asked Cobberger what the process was to apply for the PhD. He said he applied in 2 places. He said he was going to graduate with his master's in criminal justice from DeSales and was inspired. Inspired for what? That's interesting, right? After briefly mentioning he was strengthened by the fact his mother and father were okay, Cobberger said he applied to the 2 aforementioned schools because they did not require the GRE exam. He then asked Cobberger what led him down the road of becoming a professor. He said it was because he loved being in college and stated knowledge was far more important to him than money. Then Cobberger then asked questions about University of Idaho and other Idaho universities before stating he didn't know much about Idaho or Washington and had not left the tri-state area much. He then returned to speaking about his focus on learning and how he thought he could obtain his doctorate. He then spoke about the process of getting into the PhD program. I asked Cobberger if he and his father made stops along the way back to Pennsylvania. He told me they visited Colorado, but the main goal was to just drive. They then talk about seeing an unmarked police car near Kansas City, sped up behind him, catch up to another vehicle, turn on its emergency lights, then drive away. He thought this was strange and didn't know why it occurred.
He said he loved college. He talks about his
Get forward some.
Now, at some
Kohberger then stated he understood why we were engaging in small talk, but would appreciate it if we explained to him what he was doing there. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger why he thought he was there. He said he wanted the detective to tell him. Detective said we were there because of what occurred in Moscow, but did not provide any further details. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger if he watched the news. Kohberger said, I watched the news. The detective then asked Kohberger why he thought I looked familiar. Kohberger said he wasn't sure and stated I had a familiar face and looked like someone he used to know. Detective Gilbertson then said we were there because of what happened in November just off the University of Idaho campus, just off. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger if he knew what that was, to which Kohberger replied, of course. When prompted to elaborate, Kohberger said it was the incident we had been investigating for, quote, how long was aware of a homicide because the WSU alert he received. The detective asked when Kohberger received the alert. He said he wasn't sure, but he thought it was sometime the previous month. The detective confirmed that was why we were there and asked if Kohberger wanted to talk about that. Kohberger replied, well, I think I would need a lawyer. He then asked if we would explain to him what we were there for technically and added he was tired. Specifically, not technically. Specifically. And then he said he was tired. Kohberger sat back and said he had
says, look, I get
the utmost respect for law enforcement, but stated it was a constitutional right to speak to an attorney. The detective affirmed this. Kohberger then re-engaged and said the only thing he heard of from Moscow was an alert that came to his phone. Kohberger then said he wanted to talk to an attorney. Detective Gilbertson said we would stop now because he wanted his attorney. Kohberger asked where his parents were, where his dog was. And that's that. But you know what? Okay, then I don't know anything about this, but when you go through my phone, you find I've been following and obsessively searching about the murders. Okay. Just more like circumstantial evidence that like something is not right here. Yeah, that was a good, Bendy said that was a good question by the police. However, given his education, Brian knew exactly how to answer it. BK probably thought he was so smart then. Yeah, agree. I cannot wait to see that video. I really can't.
Same.
Yeah, you're back.
I'm back.
Same.
Yeah, I
Like-
want to see. And the thing is that, that kind of, I mean, that's something that even, okay, I hate to burst Brian's bubble. He's so intelligent and he excelled so, much at school, because actually the answers, you can find that kind of stuff online, how to answer those kinds of questions. Because when I was doing research for the West Memphis 3, I knew this already, but it comes up. There's the FBI questionnaire as part of the case file, what they wanted, what they suggested the officers ask when they go door to door. And one of the questions that they ask is, what do you think should happen to the person who's done this? An innocent, and at the time, the FBI said that an innocent person will answer they should get the death penalty, they should spend the rest of their life in prison. Okay, but a guilty person will say maybe something is wrong with them, maybe they need psychiatric help, stuff like that. You can find that kind of, so
Exactly.
it is a good question, and his education, certainly would have helped him answer that question correctly. But it doesn't mean that, that he's smart. It just means he knows how to read and he remembers what he read. That's not. I mean, it's a sign of intelligence, but
Yeah, but not. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Not
Yeah.
anything special,
Right.
Like,
No,
college
right.
students
He's
should be able to do that.
correct. He's not getting an invitation to Mensa anytime soon.
Okay, so I dropped the link to the Idaho links just now, and now I just want to talk about this for a minute. So
Okie doke.
this is, which Devil's Den State Park is beautiful. When I was searching, I seen a lot of pictures, and they have water and stuff there, and it was really pretty. But okay, so this is very interesting. The person is on the run. So Arkansas police released sketch drawing in search for killer at Devil's Den State Park. Arkansas police say the killer of a married couple. Yeah, we're switching gears, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know if I even said that, but I think I did. But my brain's all over.
You did, babe.
Okay.
You did.
Thank you. Arkansas police say the killer of a married couple who had been hiking the remote Devil's Den State Park with their young daughters, 7 and 9, by the way, you guys, was likely injured during the weekend attack and released a sketch drawing of a man wanted for questioning. The sketch, which was released Monday night and depicts a man wearing a baseball hat, was the first image police have given to the public as the search for the killer entered a fourth day. The man in the drawing was described by police as a person of interest who was seen in the park Saturday. Authorities have not provided a possible motive or elaborated on how the couple was killed, but Clinton Brink, 43, and Kristen Brink, 41, were found dead on a walking trail, and their daughters, who were 7 and 9, were not hurt. They were with them. They're being cared for by family.
Wow.
Along with the drawing, police said the suspect likely sustained an injury and didn't go into further detail. Authorities have been asking for tips, but urged trailgoers who were there to look through their photos and videos. Police say they've gotten a ton of calls. Now, I do know they don't want people posting stuff that they find.
Right.
But this is strange. And the daughter's not being harmed at all, leaving witnesses like that. I just don't really know what to even make of that. I don't know.
It's interesting because it would seem that for whatever reason, the husband and the wife were the intended victims, and it's a blessing that the girls weren't physically hurt. But if they witnessed it, they're going to be hurt. Do you know what I mean? Emotionally.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the family had said, what did it appear? They said they died. I lost my thing. Okay. They said they died protecting. Clinton and Kristen died heroes protecting their little girls, and they deserve justice. They will forever live in our hearts. The governor called this horrific. There hasn't been a motive or anything. I don't know. I don't know, but I wanted to talk about it just to share it had happened, and that, here, let's go back.
I'm curious if the motive was to get the girls, but then if the motive was to get the girls and the parents, because It's About Time says the mom initially got away with the girls, but then went back to check on the husband, and then it happened to her, and the girls ran to get help.
Oh my
So
God.
it makes you wonder what the intended motive was.
Oh, wow. From what I understand, mom ran the daughters to the visitor center and ran back to help her husband. Wow.
Wow.
Okay. Damn, man, that's
Interesting.
terrible.
That's awful, awful.
Well, I just saw it right a little while before the live, and I thought this person is wanted. Police want this sketch shared. Like, I want to talk about it at least for a few minutes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Heard any of that, but I hadn't dug as deep to hear it anyways. But now I'm going to for sure.
Okay.
But they released this picture. So
Oh.
this man is wanted. Arkansas police, this just came out a little like today, a little while ago, a few hours ago. Police have released a new photo of a man they are seeking to question in connection to the Devil's Den double homicide. Police described the wanted man as a white male, medium build, wearing a long sleeve shirt with sleeves rolled up, dark pants, and a dark baseball cap with sunglasses. He was carrying a black backpack, wearing fingerless gloves, and may have sustained an injury. He left the area in a black 4-door sedan. The vehicle had its license plate obscured by tape.
Oh, seems like this was not.
Yeah.
This seems a
is-
little planned.
Yep.
Mhm.
And here's what I saw earlier. This is what I was thinking about. Is they said, do not post evidence online. Instead, preserve the original files.
Good. Yeah, please.
But I mean, this is definitely planned, and I'm very curious. It sucks that this is like the picture from the back, right?
But somebody will recognize him.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
What was in the backpack? You know,
Yeah. Makes you wonder.
they just moved to the area.
Oh, bless their hearts. That's
Let's
so
look at-
sad.
I'm just gonna do like a quick search for images of the park, just so we
Okay.
can, and then we can go. But I just want to talk about it for a second. I don't know. I'm be curious to see what happens for sure. Here are
Those poor kids.
here's the couple, by the way.
Oh,
Oh, look at the waterfall. Like,
that's beautiful. Wow.
Devil's Den State Park.
So sad.
It is so sad. You know, I really feel for the kids. I cannot imagine how scary. You go out with your family. First of all, the fact that they had the kids out hiking with them, like that to me is awesome. We need to get our kids outside. I am so against like just giving them tablets. Jen, you know, every day.
Yes. We talk about this all the time.
Yes, we do, because I'll wake up and let them do a little bit of electronics, but then I'm like, I got to get them outside. They need to move. They need to get energy out.
And I can testify in a court of law under oath that Allie absolutely has those kiddos outside. They are in the water. They are playing. They're getting that energy out. They're in the fresh air and the sunshine. Yes, she does.
Yeah.
And she's like, Jen, they have too much energy. They have just guts. And I'm like, aren't you hot? Aren't you like, and she's like, yes, it's hot, but we're by the water. We're in the water. And, you know, she's like, but I used to do that with my kids too. I made them go outside. Well, I was out there with them because I was afraid they were going to get snatched.
Yeah, me too. But, you know, Jen, like, I don't know. The fact that they had them out there shows that they're trying to give them good experiences, good life, like being not stuck inside on the tablets or whatever.
Right. Experiencing nature instead of watching nature through, you know, a device.
Yes, exactly. So, you know, and then the girls, obviously, I think it seems like I don't know too much, but just by that, you would think, okay, they have loving parents who are trying to give them a good experience, take them out in nature. They not just lose their parents, but in front of them, while one of them is trying to rescue them. Like, how scary.
Yes.
Come on, let's go. Like, that's just,
oh God, I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
I can't help but put myself in people's shoes and try to like think about how that must be. And that's just so scary and so sad.
It is sad. It's
So
so
I
sad.
really feel for them. I hope that they get all the, just like Dylan with her
Yes.
GoFundMe. I want them all to get the therapy they need. I'm gonna share that one more time, I think, so just in case people don't have it.
Absolutely.
And hopefully their business is kept private too. These kids have to go on and live.
Yes,
you
they
know?
do. They do. They do.
So
Yeah.
I hadn't seen anything though that would keep that, that would show that they're invading their privacy, but people online love to do that.
Yeah, you never know, because what they'll do is, you know what they'll do. I'm not,
Yep.
and if they don't know how to do it already, I'm not going to help them.
Yeah. So Carolyn Cooper said he had approached other people too, acting bizarre.
Interesting. So that's
J11.
as sad as that. Like, it's weird and gross and sad and all of that, but then that means that this isn't like a Brian Kohberger situation where nobody saw him. Do you know what I mean? Like, he came into
Yes.
contact with other people at the park that day, and I definitely think that he will be identified.
You're right. I hope so.
You know,
You're right. If people are telling them we saw this person, maybe they're in a
Mhm.
lineup or something, they can identify him.
Absolutely. And they, yeah. Ugh.
Apparently there was a wedding there that day. So that's
Oh,
your
yeah.
family,
That's-
maybe it will.
Oh, yeah. That you're right. Gosh.
So here is Dylan's fundraiser again. We talked about this at the beginning. Her aunts set this up. It's already raised like $1,500 or more since we looked a little bit ago.
Mhm.
She is relocating, needing security, needing privacy, needing intense therapy for, who knows how long. So probably can't work. I was saying right before you joined today, Jen, like, after something goes this, like, I don't even want to say viral, that is this mainstream, this case. I mean, every news agency talked about it after the sentencing. Good Morning America, CNN, Fox, CBS, CNN
Yes.
interviewed the officers. She can't go anywhere. I would
No.
guarantee it.
No,
So,
and I think that she's probably, what's really sad to me is that Cobberger is in prison. He's never getting out. But I think the person that it's sad that she actually needs to be protected from the public. Because like when Bundy did this, there was no victim shaming the surviving sorority girls. People
yeah.
didn't victim shame them.
Mm.
But
That's
look what,
awful.
I mean, they didn't accuse them of being in on it because they survived.
Imagine her trying to get a job and having somebody like that works with her think she was
Right.
involved, especially with all the rumors and the way these creators, you guys, even me and Jen, which I guarantee you, we bring the receipts and the facts. And if I'm wrong or she's wrong, we will happily admit it and fix it. But you have to be on the lookout. The content that you take in, there is a lot that is not true. There is a lot of twisting, manipulating, making things seem like more intense or whatever. Because guess what? The more intense something is, the more crazy a situation is, even the good or bad. If it's a train wreck or an incredible situation, either way, it gets clicks and views. People are doing that for views, and it's so sad because these are people like, how did she go out and get a job and live life with all the rumors and the accusations? I just,
Do you have the sketch? They're asking for the sketch in chat.
I don't have it, but let me look. Now, you're right or I didn't know. I'm sure you're right, but I didn't know that. I'd like to see like how the public reacted to those surviving victims.
They rallied. They felt awful for them. They said how lucky it was. Now, to be fair, they were not unscathed. Okay. They sustained injuries. They were beat too, and they survived. I will say this with Dylan and Bethany. I think this is why this is why the police think and the investigators think that this was a targeted situation, because there were 2 other roommates in that home. And I think that Brian Kohberger intended to kill somebody on that 3rd floor. I think he thought he could get in. He could do what he wanted, do what he intended to do I think he had a very specific plan in mind. I think he had a very specific way that he wanted to leave things. And what ended up happening was life intervenes. And, you know, Xana heard it, what was going on. She got curious. She went up there. She interrupted it. And I think that because he was there longer than he intended, he had to kill more people than he intended. I think because Dylan just stood there and froze, that is why she's alive. And I don't even think he even thought or considered, you know, the other roommate, Bethany.
Yeah.
I think that's why she survived, because she froze. Had she screamed, had she done anything, had she moved and gotten his attention, I think he would have turned on her as well. Had Bethany come up those stairs, she would have been dead too. And it breaks my heart. It is not their fault that they survived. It's not indicative of guilt or being in on it in some way. They were kids, for the love of Pete.
Yes. Thank you. And they absolutely came so close to not surviving, and thank God they did. And you know what? Give them the space to heal. I'm really, like I said, I don't mind like people who have questions or may not agree with something, but the bashing, the accusations, that kind of stuff, like I'm sick of it. And the rumors and the lies. You know, Dylan, you know, she was acting weird. How'd she, right after that, get all dressed up and go to a Halloween party and have fun and take pictures?
Halloween, that was 2 weeks earlier than that, for the love of, 2 weeks earlier than that. Yeah. Okay. You know, the thing of it is, I don't think Dylan actually knew what she saw that night, because she heard some things, and I don't think that she put it together until the next morning. Because you can hear her on that 911 call wanting to tell the 911 operator that there was a man in the house. It wasn't something she was trying to keep secret. But because the 911 dispatcher, they're trained. And the first thing that was said was, somebody isn't breathing. That, you know, so for the 911 operator, that person is thinking, I need to understand what is actually what the situation is, so I can send the correct help. And the whole reason that happened is because, you know, Hunter J said he was trying to protect those girls. He had seen something horrific and didn't want the girls to see it or have that same trauma. He was trying to protect them. And I don't think that he was also in shock when he came out with saying, you know, just say that we need to call 911, say somebody isn't breathing. I don't think that he, in that moment, ran through all the if, then, but clauses. Okay. No. But you can hear Dylan in the background telling the 911 operator that there was a man in the house the night before.
Yep, you're right. And it's unfortunate the way that they what about the, you know, trying to go. I mean, I get it.
I have questions. Why didn't she call? Why didn't she this? Why didn't she that? I would have done this. I would have done that. You know what? You don't know what you would do. I don't know what I would do. Okay. And not only that, we are decades, even the youngest true crime community or true crime creator members among us are decades older than Dylan. And there is a big, huge difference in the way that a person reacts to situations when they are 19 versus 29, 39, 49.
Yep.
Carol, I'm writing it down right now because I'm interested in that. I think that I know the case, but I also swam and I was exposed to quite a bit of heat today, and I think I have mush brain right now. I'm like, no, it's not coming to me. I'm going to look into it.
I don't know it, but I'm going to have it. I Googled it and it's on the page right here. So I will look at it. I see Melanie Little did a video on it yesterday.
Oh, so, interesting.
Yeah. So I'll look into that as well. Something, case of Hero Dad, Arkansas tried to gag victim, former police chief and his daughter. I don't know. That's the name of it. We'll see. I'll look into it. You look into it. Maybe we could talk about it.
Absolutely, because we don't do that enough. Like, yes, we talk about, Allie is much better at it. I usually cover the trials, so it's already been, like the case has already been talked about ad nauseum now, like in that way leading up to it. So, but Allie's really good at that, and I'd like to learn to be better at it. And
thank
also,
you, Brandy.
yes, you do a really good job. And also, I do want to get back to covering trials, but it's got to be a trial that interests me, because it means, going live during the day is different than going live at night, especially to cover a trial.
Yeah, absolutely. It is totally different. All right, Bendy, I'm going to end this
Me too.
because I got a dentist appointment in the morning.
Oh, okay. Oh, poor baby.
But it's at 10 o'clock and I'm not a morning person. So I have to get up and get ready early.
Oh, dear.
But I can do
10
it.
o'clock is not that early. Like, calm your tit. Just the
It
one.
is.
Remember, the party tit, we never calm.
No, it is. It's not the 10 o'clock that's early. It's just like the starting to get
Preparing.
ready at like 8. Yeah.
Yeah, 8's too early. I messaged Allie at 8:30 her time, and she was like, "What? I just woke up." By the
I just
way,
opened my
speaking
eyes.
of, I didn't get my phone
Oh, why?
because they said I don't qualify for it, because whenever Minnie Bindi went to do it, for whatever reason, I don't think they were listening to her, and they gave her her own line, which the deal was you have to have 3 lines, which I did. But when they gave her her own line, right, separate from my bill, then it negated the 3rd line. So now I don't get the free phone. If we'd have done it at the same time, it wouldn't have been any big deal. I would have gotten my phone, and she would have gotten her free phone, and she would still be
Dang,
on my
man.
plan. Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed by it, but there's something else I can do. I might switch carriers anyway, because it really irritated me. Do you know I've been with that phone carrier since 2013?
You know
Like,
what?
you can't do
Switch.
nothing for me, man.
Yeah, switch then. Find
I
there
am gonna
are deals
switch.
everywhere, and I bet you can find something else, like some other kind of thing like that. So
Yeah, because this is ridiculous. You can't give me nothing
yeah.
but a thanks for being with us for, over 10 years, 12 years, however the hell long it's been. Rude and disrespectful. It wasn't the
For
girl
sure.
at the store's fault. She was really sweet. It's just the situation irritated me. And even Chicky Nuggy was like, "Why they didn't give you a new phone, Granny?" That's
She
not
was
nice.
getting mad.
Yes, she
Aw.
was upset. You need a new phone, Granny, which I really don't. But if it was free, of course I'm not going to say no. It's free.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
It was a perk.
I love an upgrade. It's fun to get.
Yes,
you know,
Carol, I check all the time too, and I don't know what is going on with that case. I don't know why there hasn't been an opinion. It's very frustrating because it really, okay, technically what the judge said is sometime after April. Well, when after April?
right.
May after April, July,
December.
next, there's a lot of months that come after April. Could you narrow it down a little, please, Your Honor? Like, nobody thought it was going to be this long.
Well, hopefully a bunch of things get answered, like the West Memphis
Yes.
stuff. All right.
Yeah, early 2025. Bruh, it is the end of July, almost August. We are not in early 2025 no more. I don't appreciate that either.
We're in the second half, and I just want to say you guys are sweet. Thank you for all the sweet words and the good nights and stuff, and I hope you guys have a good night. And then, Bindi, thank you for coming up. I'm so glad you joined in on the conversation, because I like to talk through this stuff with you.
Me too. I do too, and I like to hear your thoughts, because you are always like, well, what about this? You always make me see things in a different way or looking at it from a different perspective, and I appreciate that. We're good together.
Yes. So thank you so much. And yeah, I love you, and I hope you have a good night.
All right. You too, babe. Love you too. Bye, you guys. Have a good night.